It's here, y'all, the M4 iPad Pro from 2024. I think this might be the dream iPad for me. So this is the 11-inch 256 gigawiggle edition. Oh, satisfying. Satisfying. Feels really lightweight. Like, is it even in there? Come on, vacuum seal. Ah, ooh. Okay, everything's like falling out. Okay, we have the iPad. Whoa, oh, that's really light. Holding up the M4 versus the 2018. Definitely a noticeable difference with the M4. Also in the box, we have your paperwork. Looks like a starter guide here. And we have a charging block, which is a 20-watt charging block, as well as, ooh, a really nice braided USB-C to USB-C cable. Let's get into the actual iPad Pro here. Ooh, it feels so lightweight, y'all. And I love this 11-inch form factor. Okay, the moment of truth. Oh, I'm probably making this more dramatic than it needs to be, but you know what? I'm really freaking excited. This is the new space black color. It looks really freaking beautiful. And look how absolutely thin this thing is. This is the thinnest Apple product ever, I believe. It's even thinner than the Apple Pencil. So here's the difference between the 2018 iPad Pro over here. This is space black, this is space gray. They actually look pretty similar, but the space black is a little bit darker. Okay, so when it comes to thinness, you can see just how thin the 2018 iPad Pro is on top there. And then we have the M4 underneath. They're pretty similar overall, but definitely thinner and noticeably lighter on the 2024 model. But yeah, space black is darker than space gray. Is it dramatically darker? Not really, but it's definitely darker. And I wear all black, so this goes with all my outfits now. So this is the gigantic 12.9-inch iPad Pro M1 from, I believe, 2021. And then here is the 11-inch, so you can see the size difference between these two. And the 12.9-inch over here is also space gray, so you can see the space black is a little bit darker. Now let's actually turn this thing on. Is it going to turn on? There we go. Okay, so one thing I'm really excited about with the M4 is this new tandem OLED display. And that's actually the main reason why I think this might be my dream iPad. Hello. But this new tandem OLED display is even better than this M1 display, but we'll see how different they actually are. Looks like we have a software update going on the iPad, so let's actually check out the Apple Pencil Pro while we wait. I'm pretty excited about this as well, even though the previous Apple Pencil is still pretty good in 2024. I'm like, what year is it? So let's get into this box. Ooh. I'm really loving the minimal branding and everything. The packaging is very simple. So we have your paperwork. Looks like there's a little bit of paper on the outside of this. And yeah, here's the new Apple Pencil Pro. Very simple, very minimal. Does it, oh. So on top here is the previous Apple Pencil, and then on the bottom we have the Apple Pencil Pro. And holding these up together, they look almost identical, really. But the new Apple Pencil Pro has some like squeeze gestures and some tilting gestures, which will make it better for drawing on my iPad, which I actually do quite often. So I'm just gonna attach it, and there you go. So this is what it looks like with the Apple Pencil Pro on there. Like I was saying earlier, the Apple Pencil Pro is actually thicker than this new iPad, so it looks a little weird. Let's try to put the old Apple Pencil on here. Nope, it doesn't work. No, it's just gonna fall off. All right, so we're transferring the data from my previous iPad to this one. So while we do that, let's talk a little bit about the spec differences between the 2018 and the M4. So the biggest difference is, of course, the display. We have the tandem OLED, which is a double layer OLED display. Pretty insane. And I haven't even adjusted brightness or anything, but this thing gets crazy bright. And if you get one of the top tier models, like the 1 terabyte, 2 terabyte models, you can add a nano texture coating. Although I prefer this kind of normal coating. It definitely has a bunch of glare and stuff, but I don't mind that because I feel like the blacks look much better, like very inky on this kind of OLED display. The M4 chip is also a huge upgrade over the 2018 model, which has the A12X chip. You can get up to 10 core CPU, 10 core GPU, and 16 core neural engine on the M4 now. So that's a pretty dramatic difference on paper at least. We'll have to do some more comparisons. But yeah, in day-to-day use, I think that's only gonna really make a huge difference when you're rendering graphics, when you're using the Apple Pencil Pro. If you edit music or video a lot on your iPad Pro, then that will come really in handy. I don't do a whole lot of that stuff on my iPad Pro because I use it mostly as like a consumption device and to message people, kind of doing basic stuff. So for me, the M4 chip is way overkill. I don't need that on an iPad Pro, but I will take it if it's there. They took away the ultra wide camera on the rear, and we still have the 12 megapixel wide camera over here. It's still capable of shooting 4K video, and it actually shoots ProRes as well. And then the landscape front facing camera, I think is going to be a huge deal for FaceTiming and zooming and that kind of thing, where the camera before was over here. So whenever you're doing a call, it always looked like you were looking to the side or something. But when the camera's centered like that, it'll actually look like you're looking at the person you're talking to. There are now also 4 studio quality microphones in this new M4 model. And when Apple says studio quality microphones, they usually actually kind of mean that. So I'm actually really excited to try out the microphones internally in here, maybe record like an entire song in here or something. By the way, if you want to check out my music, search for Ben Aqua in Apple Music and Spotify. Highly appreciate all of your streams. Share it with your friends and your dogs, your fish, your cats. There's also a new Magic Keyboard for the M4 models, which actually reminds me, I also picked up the iPad Pro Smart Folio for M4 iPad Pro. So let's do a quick unboxing of that. And this is basically the only protector that I use on my iPads over the years. I don't use screen protectors, I don't use any of that stuff. I love naked devices. That sounded very extremely kinky. I love these cases because they're so slim, they're so minimal. They add a little bit of weight to your iPad, but I don't mind that because it adds a lot of protection and it just has this really nice coating. But yeah, this looks very similar to the one that I use on my 2018. It has this nice interior kind of velvety smooth texture. This is of course the black colorway, and yeah, this feels really nice. Let's pop it onto the iPad Pro and see how it feels. I'm so excited, I am like shaking right now. I have a problem, a huge issue. But yeah, iPad Pro is in there. The magnet feels kind of strong-ish. Yeah, it's actually pretty strong. And you just fold it up, and I love that you kind of open this and kind of peek into your iPad. And yeah, I am loving how thin this is. I am loving how lightweight this is. The M4 iPad Pro is actually a little less than 1 pound. And when you hold it in your hand, it feels so freaking light. Like it almost feels like you're holding an iPhone. Even just versus the iPhone 15 Pro Max over here. I mean, it's obviously heavier, but it almost feels like the same weight, which is freaking wild. What's also interesting about this tandem OLED display is the resolution is actually a little bit bigger than the 2018 model with 2420 by 1668 resolution on this one. So you get a little more screen real estate on the M4 as well. But the biggest difference I think with this one is going to be, of course, this tandem OLED display, which now gets an SDR brightness of 1000 nits max versus the 600 nits max on the 2018 model. But then when you watch HDR content, this goes all the way up to 1000 nits max full screen or 1600 nits peak. What that means in human terms is this is freaking bright as hell. We get the same amount of battery life on this one versus the 2018, which is about 10 hours. Okay, enough about the specs. I finally got iPadOS 17.5 loaded up here. I got my apps all downloaded and that kind of stuff. And let's check out this crazy tandem OLED display. I'm gonna bump it up 100% brightness. So here's what it looks like, 100%. That is kind of wildly bright. The black in the background looks less gray and it looks actually black now. So that's an amazing difference versus the iPad from 2018. So here they actually are side by side. We have M4 over here, 2018 over here. 100% brightness on both of these devices. I am noticing a definite difference, like the M4 is definitely brighter. Is it blowing my mind in terms of how much brighter it is? No. And I'm noticing more contrast and maybe slightly more saturation on this M4 display. They both have ProMotion in the display as well, so they both seem very smooth, you know, just like normal scrolling and that kind of thing. I am just so excited that finally we have a more HDR, XDR type of experience on the 11-inch form factor. I just love the usability of the 11-inch model. I just feel like it's a lot easier to type on this thing, to scroll around with two hands, or to hand hold it with one hand. So let's do a quick camera test here. We're using the rear facing camera at the moment. Looks pretty good. Will you be able to see any bokeh in the background? Yeah, actually maybe a little bit. I'll switch it over to the front facing camera here. Looks like an iPad camera. Am I completely blown away by this? Not really, but it does have the ultra wide on here, which looks pretty good. There's also portrait mode, which I think you can only do on the front facing camera, which is still weird. So let's take a quick portrait mode selfie here. Smile for the freaking camera. Oof, that looks a little tragic. Wasn't expecting much. So the kind of crappy camera aside, I'm loving this iPad Pro M4 so much so far. It's gorgeous, it's fast, this display is insane, and it's kind of like a hyper version of that 2018 11-inch iPad Pro that I've been using forever. I'm really excited to test this out more, and if you watched all the way to the end of this video, leave a bear emoji in the comments down below. Smash all the buttons. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. There's also a new M4. There's also a new Magic Keyboard for this There's also a new